Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of Hearts Aligned podcast. I'm really excited because this is number 7. That's my lucky number. And I'm here with my new friend Alex. We have a funny story of how we met. We're actually from the same town. It's a small town in California. And here we are in Oregon. We didn't know each other before. We lived down the street from each other, and a mutual friend introduced us. But it's so weird that we're really from this really small little town, population of 30,000 or less. And now we're in a new state, both of us, and we happen to be right down the street from each other. So the world really is smaller than you think. It really is, right? What are the odds? Um, so that's a little bit about how we met, and we just became good friends pretty quickly. We're both Pisces. We're recently hanging out, and he actually showed me a video he captured here in Oregon of some UFOs, or what we think are UAPs. I would love to hear more about that from you, Alex. I saw the video, but we didn't talk too much about it yet. But could you just we have the video, we'll show you the video, but what's your experience just briefly?
So my experience with what I saw is probably familiar to the viewers already. It's something that was well documented in World War II by fighter pilots over Germany and in France. They were called Foo Fighters. They were basically fireballs, and they were observed uh, completing, just unimaginable maneuvers in the sky and at great velocity. And I believe what I saw were those Foo Fighters. But it's still unclear exactly what they are, because you know they are by definition unidentified. I have no idea what it is or what they were.
How would you describe how they looked?
The way they looked, if you look in the video, you're only going to see little blips of light, and you see them shimmering because there's a tree line there. Since it's dark, you only see when they pass through the breaks in the tree line.
Okay.
But what I saw were these massive, like orange orbs. They look like balls, but the light that they were emitting was not, being somebody who wears glasses, you can see rays of light and shimmering from light sources. This looked like plasma, and usually in manufacturing settings, you'll see these type of gases when they're lit, and that's what it looked like. It looked like it was glowing, not that it was
Like a light.
like a ray or anything like that. So it didn't give off any other light, just beyond its, I would say, its outer dimension.
What color was it?
So growing up, I'm pretty sure you had those popsicles that are like they're like cherry orange mango, and they're long, and they were like 25 cents back in the day. Well, I don't know if you remember like the lighter orange color of it.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
So it had that color like on the rim or on the outside of it, and the center part was lighter, more like a peach color. But all of them were uniform. All of them were that color.
Okay. Um, there was something, oh, this was something important, I think. So when he took the video, it was still light out. Would you say it was like this light about this time, maybe 7 p.m.?
No, probably earlier. A little bit earlier. I would say closer to 6.
Okay, so in the Pacific Northwest, the sun sets really late. It's past 7 right now, almost 7:15, and the sun is not down. It is still bright out. So you filmed this and saw this even earlier, so it was basically daylight here. and you caught this on camera. Guys, it's a great video too. It's not like those crappy videos. Like this is a clear, well done video. But when he saved the video, it looks as if it's nighttime.
I uploaded it to Facebook, and the video looked original, but as I mentioned before, I was in such a state of shock at what I saw that I started calling relatives and friends, and I'm like, "Hey, did you guys see this? I'm freaking out here. I've never witnessed anything like this."
Mm-hmm.
And I was still, panting and had the shivers of how excited I was. And you can tell in the video how excited I was,
Oh yeah,
to witness that.
I've
And
always wanted to see one.
after it uploaded, um, it immediately disappeared. And all that was left were like ads and things that never pop up on my wall. Like I've never seen advertisements there.
So you posted it just right away on Facebook?
Yes.
Okay.
And my cousin's husband, he actually was able to see the original that I put up, and so I did have that feedback from him after the video repopulated. It took almost 2 hours, and I was upset because I thought I had lost it. I thought I had lost that video, and it came back, but it came back like this. It came back dark, and the initial start of it was gone, where you can actually, because when it was still light out, I was seeing the beginning of the procession. The very first one that came out and the ones that followed after.
So sorry to interrupt. Was the video still saved in your phone or it was just gone?
It was gone.
So it was only on your Facebook?
Well, I had it on my phone originally,
Yeah.
and I tried to pass it to my laptop, and
Oh.
it froze. It froze, and it ended up corrupting the one on my phone. And it was taking an incredibly long time to try to transfer the file to Facebook. And once it did, like I said, that's when it just vanished and was replaced by ads.
Have you heard of Skinwalker Ranch? You probably have.
Yes.
So they have a lot of UFO sightings, and one of the main things that they've noticed, outside sources come in, like scientists and things like this, and their phones are immediately completely drained of their battery. Completely. Or they get a weird pink colorful screen. And they have taken a picture of this phone screen to show what happens. So the technology goes haywire.
I wouldn't say that would have been the cause because I had it. I had it and I was able to see it and I kept watching it over and over. And there was, you know, like I said, I captured it from the beginning when I first saw it, and all the way to
So
the
what
end.
do you think happened?
I, I don't want to sound like a kook, but I feel like it got intercepted. Like somebody else was watching it, and made edits because
Oh
they
my
didn't
God.
want.
Whoa, this just hit a whole nother level of creepy.
Because if they were able to see what that thing was at the beginning when there was still light out, and more people saw it, how do you backtrack? How do you take it down? So
You know what that makes me think? That makes me think that other people saw it and recorded it and uploaded it at the exact same time as you. Because it makes more sense for maybe not for like whoever this would be who's monitoring your stuff, but if a lot of people all had the same footage at the same time and like try to post it, it would make sense that maybe, but how would they
a lot of people upload. For example, they go to Disneyland and they all post stuff immediately. So I don't want to get into that thought of thinking, maybe the connection was flooded or Facebook just had too much activity in our area. You know, I I'm under the rules.
have you heard of anyone else seeing the same thing?
Yes, yes, because after I uploaded it, and I put in, the hashtags to get proper attention to it. And I think that was my mistake
Hashtags.
because I think that's how it got noticed. And like I said, somebody, I don't know if they work for Facebook or another governmental agency or entity.
Mhm. But how would it get erased off your cell phone itself?
Well, during the file transfer, like when because I immediately put it on Facebook. Then I tried to put it onto my laptop just to keep the original. And during that is when halfway through the loading, one, it was taking a ridiculous amount of time, and I had a pretty decent laptop,
Mhm.
and file transfers were pretty quick. And halfway through, it just stopped, and it was gone, and it was my phone was still connected to my laptop, and it was also gone.
How are you feeling?
I at that moment, because I had that conversation with my cousin's husband, and he told me, he's like, in his accent, he was like, "Oh, I think the government's watching you," and I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't think so. That'd be pretty creepy and scary if they were, And so I didn't want to believe that, but I'm still left with the question: then how did it happen? Maybe a coincidence? I don't know. The fact is my original is gone, and that video only shows when it got dark, and it was still light out for a good, I would say, 15, 18 minutes until it got dark. Because I saw at least, I would say, 12 to 15 of them where you can actually see the color of those objects and the shape of them. And then also in my video, the objects were actually, they looked closer, so almost about the same size ratio that I saw. It was more clear. And in this, like I said, you only see little dots.
And I can tell by your reaction that what you were seeing was so real and detailed, and you could really see it.
Yeah, I was describing it in the video. I was describing exactly what I was seeing.
All right, let's give them a video. And so for sure they're not like drones, right? Because they're
No,
big, right?
they were massive. They like at the angle
Uh-huh.
at which I saw them, the altitude that they were at. From the size that I saw, I would estimate, they were maybe.
And also drones don't really glow. I mean, I think maybe they can nowadays, but that did seem different than that.
Mind you, this is 2015. People were barely starting to play drones.
True, true. I know they're so advanced now, but if I would have seen this before I knew even how advanced they were, I wouldn't even be questioning it. Was that something over there too, or no?
There was a plane flying by
Okay.
overhead.
Wow. Okay. So UFOs, Oregon, 2015. I don't know if you want me to give out your info, Alex, but
Or you can provide the link.
yeah, we can provide the link. So, yeah, so to you, they looked a lot closer.
Yes. But the funny thing is if you notice the left side of the screen, you can see that there's the roof of the house.
Mhm.
So once they were getting close to that point, they were going straight out towards the Pacific.
Sorry about that. Sorry, guys. And we're back. Sorry for the technical difficulties there. Do you remember what you were saying?
Yes. So they were these objects. Once they got to a certain point, they were heading straight for the Pacific. Heading westward. And the town next to us is called Forest Grove.
Yeah.
And so, as I mentioned before, through putting hashtags, and my video got noticed by a local radio host. I don't know if I should say their name, so they don't get upset. But anyways, it's a local radio show out in Portland.
You know what? Shout him out. Shout him out.
Well, shout out to Clyde Lewis at Ground Zero. And so he saw my video and uh, tried to contact me. So the next day I was at the gym and I'm listening, to his show like I was doing religiously for a couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
And I hear my name and I was like, oh, like what's going on? So I listened and because the show was just starting and he mentioned that he had seen the video and he had another show planned.
Mm-hmm.
But it was so interesting to him because I wasn't the only person who reported seeing these things. They were reported in Vancouver, Washington. They were reported in Portland, Hillsborough, and in Forest Grove, the direction that I said they were heading.
All to this radio station?
To this radio station, and also reports on your Facebook page. But nobody managed to record it.
Except you.
Yeah, I was fortunate that I had a phone that I had due to its utilities. So all I had to do was shake it and the camera would turn on. So I wasn't there, checking my doing my password and trying to get the camera set up. I just shook and started recording. And so I was hesitant to call the show because for one, I was a little worried, that people, might tell me to put on a tinfoil hat or or that I was just saying things. But as you can tell in the video, somebody was there with me and they saw the exact same thing and were also excited and a little bit scared at what we were looking at.
Who was that? That saw it.
That was my ex-wife, and it really upset her.
Oh, really? I would have been stoked. I would have been like, yes.
No, she was pretty upset. She said if it turns out that aliens are real, she said that she doesn't want to exist. She can't handle that truth. And I was like, I don't know if they're alien in nature or if they might be angelic beings that some people believe them to be. I don't know. I can't say for a fact what they were. I can only describe what I saw. But getting back to Clyde Lewis's
I think they
show,
were just traveling from another dimension, and I think that we're not supposed to see them, but sometimes they get seen, and it's when they want to show you, or I'm not sure why else, but I think maybe they wanted you to see them, or it was an accident.
it was definitely an accident, because I wasn't gonna actually be outside, and I think that's why a lot of these things don't get noticed. Because
We spent a lot of time indoors.
yeah, and I just happened to have walked outside when I saw the first one.
Could I say one more thing? It just hit me now. I think, we don't see hardly any stars. There are, the sky is filled with stars. It is like an insane sight, but the light pollution is blocking out all the stars. We're used to seeing that amazing view all the time, every night, but we have no idea. So maybe that's another reason why.
And also, but like I said, the interesting part is that when if they were a sentience, behind it, why did they choose to go during when there was still daylight out? They obviously weren't. It wasn't
And
too
it does
too.
happen in the daytime, yeah.
It wasn't too worried about being seen.
That's how, so pilots, so I'm thinking, so sorry, it's not like I have all the answers. These are just theories that are coming up. But I'm thinking that some of them might be rebels. Maybe they don't care if they're seen.
Well, the behind us, so that was like towards the center of Hillsboro,
Hmm.
and we have the airport to the east of us from where I was at that location, and so we're used to seeing airplanes all the time.
Yeah, we see a lot of
And
airplanes.
you know what they look like? They don't look like a ball.
We see them every day, all day, because the airport's right here. It's pretty amazing. We see small planes, commercial planes, all the time. They go over my building at work and they rock the whole entire building. They shake. It sounds so loud. I've actually had coworkers who are afraid of how it sounds.
And but getting back to Clyde Lewis, his show, I did call in to the number they provided, and he invited somebody by the name of Peter Davenport, who is in charge of the UFO Centers of America,
Yeah.
and his friend in Forest Grove, who's an author. I don't remember her name, but she called him personally to let him know what she saw, and she
Oh,
described it exactly how I did, the same quantity of these orbs, and so he was excited to be on the show to talk because he really believes his friend, and
so did you talk to him?
yes, I
Oh,
spoke
wow.
with Peter Davenport, and so he asked me a series of questions, and so I answered. Basically, it was just details of the description, the velocity, if I can estimate the velocity, um, or altitude. Some of the questions I couldn't answer precisely, but there was enough people, from like I mentioned, from Portland, from Vancouver all the way to Forest Grove, that gave similar descriptions. So he was able to go off of that, and he looked into military activity in the area because in the comment section, you'll see some people were calling me crazy, saying that there were a bunch of helicopters, military helicopters, but I've never seen 30, 35 of them
Is that
flying.
how many there were? Because in the video it doesn't show.
Well, remember, the beginning part of the video is gone.
Was it the same thing?
Yeah, it was, the description of their flight pattern. At first, when I noticed it was one, and then it was two, and then it was one behind it. And at that time, we had the scare of North Korea, sending a nuke. They kept threatening. So I was like thinking about the movie Red Dawn, and I was like, is it? It's like, could that be?
I think all of our natural inclinations are to think, oh, it's a plane. Oh, it's a helicopter. Oh, so I think if your natural instinct is telling you that this is none of those things, like this is something different, this is something you cannot identify, I believe you. I believe that feeling and that instinct.
It was at that point when I saw the fourth one, and I was like, that is not what I think it is not. And then more, it was just nonstop after that. It was just one after another coming out, and that's when I got scared and pulled out the camera. I pulled out my phone, and that's what I described to Peter Davenport. And so he also checked the prevailing winds, which is the direction that the wind travels, and it was going the opposite direction. So what that means is that these objects were going against the wind, which means they were going on their own power. Because if it was a balloon or a Chinese lantern,
Okay.
like some people
Okay.
think it is,
Yeah.
you know, um,
That's a wonderful fact that you know.
they would go with the wind, and they travel more erratic than what I saw. As you can see in the video, they stayed pretty level. And I've lit Chinese lanterns before,
Yeah.
and let them up there, even though it's illegal here.
Mhm.
Don't show this to a prosecutor. And they just go straight up,
Yeah.
and they go pretty fast. And that's not what this was. And and so taking that into consideration, he gave me a fact about the UFO Centers of America that he is in charge of. And he said he gets approximately about 11,000 reports annually.
Mhm.
And he looks into everything. He checks, flights from local airports. He checks military activity, uh, uh, climate conditions, weather reports, you name it. He looks into everything so he can get a sense of the authenticity of that report. And so with all those facts, especially with the video to back it up,
Mhm.
he was able to determine that, you know, that my report fell into the 7% pile of ones that he considers authentic. So out of 11,000, he only gets like 7% that he cannot disprove.
Hence why I am so excited to be sitting here with you because it's just an unlikely friendship that formed. And also, I love UFOs. My first tattoo I've ever got is an alien. I bonded with my still great friend from high school. We were best friends. We bonded over talking about aliens. Since I was 8 years old, that's how far back I can recall just liking aliens. I said my imaginary best friend is a green alien. I just liked them. I've always believed in them. I've never really had a doubt. And I love how all the tinfoil hat conspiracies are all coming to light to be true. I th- now there's more that are true than are false, and it's just a really exciting time right now. I think.
Well, I think for us, that have always had that interest,
Yeah.
we're like, I knew it.
Yeah.
I knew it. But there's a lot of people that are so, like you said, that are so jaded, they don't care about it. It doesn't affect them. But, coming from somebody, that grew up on X Files, that grew up on Star Trek, you always have that
Star
that
Wars.
desire to believe in it.
Yeah.
You want to. And but when it happens, it's it is undescribable, because you
You know what I
see it.
think it was? I really think that like it was just another highway that we can't see with our naked eye. I believe that they were all just traveling down a highway, and for that moment, they were visible. And you know what? Okay, this just hit me now. I don't know if this has anything to do with it. Things may be seeming to be in destruction right now, which is true, but I think that there's also more light and good at the same time as how much dark is being shown. I think that there is so much good, and for some reason, maybe that could be affecting like this veil. And I think that they're just, we're not used to seeing them. Maybe we're not supposed to, but for some reason, this barrier, I think, is kind of dissolving a little bit.
Well, I think there's also, personal barriers that get dissolved as well.
Yeah.
Because, like I mentioned, I wanted to believe, just like I told you in a previous conversation that I want to believe in Bigfoot, but I haven't seen him,
Yeah.
But if I see him, that'd be pretty, freaking awesome. But I happen to see these things, and it changed my perspective on everything.
That's what I wanted to ask you. Were you a believer before?
I was like on the fence. I'm like, it'd be pretty neat, it's very improbable to me, based on the Drake equation of how many planets, can be in our entire universe and how many civilizations might be out there. It's
Yeah.
astronomical. Why would we be so naive
Yeah.
and egotistical to think that we're the only things in the universe?
Hmm.
So I went off of that, but without seeing, you don't know. But after I saw it, like it almost felt like everything I knew imploded. Everything like from religion all the way to history and politics of the world.
Oh, yeah.
It just
Well, everything is imploding right now. Everything that like, everything that's accepted, like, that the scientists say, this is exactly how it happened, this is exactly how it went. We're finding the evidence. Like, we think we know everything, but we don't. We are very egotistical. We think that we're so smart. But I think there's so much that's been lost in history. We have no idea.
yeah, and um, it for at least I would say a year. For a year, I was just mad. I actually got mad that I saw those things because, like I said, like everything I thought I knew was wrong.
You didn't feel like great about it?
At first, like I said, I was in shock and I was really excited. But then when I started thinking about it, I was just like I was just like running things in my head, and I was like, so many wars fought on religion, and all of the people that are suffering because of people's belief systems, and they're wrong.
Mm,
They're like I told you
yeah.
before, there's a lot of good in certain belief systems and religions and whatnot, but there's these fundamental issues, where they think that we're the only things God ever created, and people
I
fight
know
over
what you
that.
mean. I know. I felt that to my core right now when you said that. I really relate to you on that.
Yeah, so know, during that year, I kept thinking, I was like, a lot of people are dead, and if they knew how how we're just a small speck in the grand scheme of things,
And we so are, even besides this.
like individually as a species, we are valuable and we deserve to be in the universe, but we're not the only ones. There's more out there. And if we can take that, if everybody knew about it and they took it in, you can only imagine what this place would be. We would strive to be better as a species.
The problem is that we're not even able to respect the nature on this planet, like the trees. And when we can't even respect our own Mother Nature on the same planet. So I agree with all the memes and stuff where like aliens are like no, hell no, I don't want to go to Earth, or why they're cloaking themselves. But on the positive side, I don't know, this like just hit me now during this video, is that maybe this barrier is dissolving. Because
And
I do believe that maybe, but hate has always been here. War and violence, it sucks, but it's always been here.
but it also, as we discussed before, a lot of these things like greed, and war, they they have a point in history when it started. And when you go all the way to the beginning, they talk about sky beings
Oh
coming,
yeah.
and they got their instructions and they got their lust for gold from there, and the lust of having what your neighbor has, and so we were left with, I guess, maybe if these stories are true, that these beings came, they basically engineered and corrupted us, and not knowing that the centuries following, humans were going to turn out to be some shitty people.
So you do believe that humans were engineered by um other species?
Well, I consider it, because if they're talking about these entities,
Is that God then?
that's what I'm
Is that
saying. That's why I'm saying that look at all of the destruction we've done, and we think that, we're justified because of these sky beings that told us it's okay. And I was like, but what if they came back and told us, hey, you're a bad kid, you deserve a spanking. We need to fix this. That'd be cool. But during their
um
absence, there has been nothing but bad that has happened.
okay, I like how far back you went with it. To bring it a little bit more current, um, to back up your theory, there was a UFO sighting at an elementary school, I believe, and everybody at that school saw the same thing. The teachers, the kids, they all saw a UFO, and they actually saw and were confronted by aliens who came out of it. Little small men, like you would imagine. And they came up to the children, and this was in broad daylight at a school. You can watch this on the documentary on Netflix. It's when this whole disclosure thing began. And the aliens transmitted images to the children's minds. That's how they communicated. And what they showed them was the earth in destruction, like being destroyed. I think it had to do with war. Um, I think the message was about war, like anti-war. Like you're just gonna like your planet is going to be and
I think it's occurred in Africa. Right? The kids ended up drawing images of what they saw.
maybe I don't remember exactly where it occurred. I just remember like the school and so they met up as adults in the documentary on Netflix. We gotta figure out what it's called, but it was the very first disclosure documentary that came out around COVID time. And anyway, um I don't know why I brought that story up. It was somehow relating.
Well, because
So they're connected to us. They're watching us. In that sense, they don't want us to nuke ourselves and blow ourselves up. We have God knows like hundreds of thousands or maybe less, but definitely thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of nukes we have as a country. So they're trying to prevent war. So I feel like there's good ones, even if there's bad ones. Same thing with humans. There's good ones, there's bad ones. Same thing, I think, with UFOs. But obviously, they have a connection to us. So I think I just wanted to bring it back to that point, like a factual event that occurred that shows they have a connection to us. And then now bringing it way back to how humans began, obviously that's probably the lesser that's definitely the lesser opinion, but I have to say that I do not disagree with you. If anything, I more so agree with you about the origin of humans and
you know, during that period, I was saying that I was, thinking a lot about this situation. And I kept thinking to myself, if we only knew we're not alone, a lot of all this bull crap would not exist anymore. And we would strive for something greater as a species. And I kept trying to figure out then what's my place. I was like, I was taught my whole life that that 500 years ago the Earth was the center of the solar system, and it wasn't. We found that out. I was like, what more is there that we can find out? We can find out a lot of things if we accept that we're not the only player on the block. And what gave me solace at the end is because, like I said, I kept thinking, and finally I saw something that was disclosed by the Vatican and Pope Francis. He he didn't say exactly, like he was being vague with what he was trying to say,
Mhm.
but the Vatican noticed something, and they actually got together with Obama. Was it? I think it was Obama, but they got together with him and also Queen Elizabeth, right, to discuss something that they had observed, and they think that there was a connection with this with astronomers from the Vatican. So they were trying, I guess, trying to, what is said is that they're trying to come up with how to balance people's reactions, if disclosure were to happen. And the Pope said something along the lines that if there are other entities, other creatures, that they are all creations of God and that they are accepted in the Catholic Church. I'm like, why would you Catholic? Unless you knew they exist. And I was like, you guys, it was like, is disclosure coming? I was like,
How long ago was this?
oh man, I think it was like back in, I would say it was definitely after I had seen this. So it had to be somewhere around 2016, 17, around there.
Okay, so for anyone who is doubting this, Congress is having hearings about this right now, which started in July of this year, 2023. And there are whistleblowers from various governmental agencies. They try to come out with the truth, but they were being threatened. They were worried for their lives. And now more protections are coming out for whistleblowers, including a new agency where the public can report what we see. And I'm sorry, I forget the name of the agency. This is still pretty new, but we're making some progress. Some people are also pretty pissed because this has been a secret for so long and we have been paying for it, the taxpayers. We've been paying for all the research. But
I think it was just a year or two ago where they first started disclosing. They had the footage from the Navy pilots.
yeah, so that's the documentary I was talking about on Netflix. That's in there. That's how it starts out. Yeah. Yeah, there's a whistleblower who was a pilot as well in the Navy. So it's just a lot
And
that's coming out.
I don't want to, step on X Files toes and say the truth is out there.
It is. The truth is out there. Yeah, it's been out there, guys.
I just hope, maybe someday you guys have an experience like that, before we get a full on invasion.
Yeah, so I don't think that there's going to be an invasion. If there is, then I guess there's not even a reason to worry about it because they're far more advanced than us. That's one thing with our egos. Like, we think that we have the best technology. We think that we know about all the latest and greatest technology, but their technology literally defies physics. It defies this dimension, if you can believe that. It defies gravity. So it defies all the laws of this 3D dimension that we're living in. Um, so yeah.
Just the fact, like from the description that I gave, that it looked like a glowing ball of plasma. I was like, what do we have that can do that?
So interesting.
Because I've seen how plasma works. Because I've worked in the manufacturing sector, and so those type of tools are used for certain
That's so
processes.
it looks like an orb.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. And I cannot attribute it to any other type of, and or probably have during our lifetimes.
Yeah, so shout out really quick to my brother Paul and my cousin Chris. My brother Paul has seen a UFO outside of our window at our house. I have never seen a UFO, so jealous of that. My cousin recently he saw an orb in his backyard. Yeah. So again, you may not know me, you may not know my family, but I tend to believe people, and I'm not ashamed of saying that. I tend to believe people. Yes, there are things that you can explain away, but look at the pilots, okay? These guys are brilliant men and or women. They're not just pilots in the Air Force for nothing, okay? These men are smart. These men are top of the line, okay? They're trusted to be pilots for the government. And the reason they're coming out and disclosing this is because they care about us. This is an act of nobility. You don't get any prize really for telling the truth. All you get is maybe your life threatened. So if someone is willing to put their entire name and livelihood on the line to tell an experience that they had, I think maybe we should believe them. Maybe they're actually on our side and they just want us to know the truth.
And in their credibility, they were very great as you mentioned, because for me, in the position, that I have professionally,
Mhm.
I stopped talking about this because of fear of ridicule, and two, I'm expected to be held at a certain standard, because I manage people, and you can't have
We're
people.
professionals. I understand.
You can't have people seeing you as crazy or that you're out of your mind. And even though like for me, I have a video,
Mhm.
but still people are like, you were smoking a blunt or something. I'm like, dude, you don't see it? You don't see it?
And you know what? I feel fortunate though, Alex. I feel very fortunate because I'm a professional too, and I've never made a video about aliens in my life. But I feel I didn't have any hesitation in talking about this.
I felt comfortable, but because you didn't see it as ridiculous or outlandish.
Hmm.
You heard the conversation, and then when I told you I actually had a video, and your
I was
eyes,
so excited.
I was like, okay, I think I can open about it.
Yeah.
But I kind of kept it, you know, in the dark for quite a while now, like 5 years now, at least. I stopped talking about it, but here we are.
Here we are, disclosure, 2023, baby. Things are changing, things are heating up, things are crumbling, things are dismantling, things are being built, our minds are being blown. But most importantly, we're seeing the truth. Okay, this is 2020 fucking three. Let's do this. Let's do this.
Just open your minds, and accept it when you see it. If you ever see it, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Believe me, you cannot.
I can only hope that we're as lucky as you were.
I hope you guys are too.
Do you have any closing words? Do you want to promote any of your social media accounts or anything like that?
Um, well, most of my public accounts that I have are based on my artwork, and
He's an artist.
I've shared a lot of that art. You got to see some of it, but I've given it out, to quite a bit of people. But if you're interested in visual arts, I I've done quite a bit, and my Instagram is Alex Manzano Arts. You can check me out there. I also post stuff on my travels, places I've been, know, at least 26 states, four different countries, and I like to take pictures of random things when I'm out there. So that's just me, you can check it out. And that one is public.
What's your Instagram?
Alex Manzano Arts.
Okay.
That's the only one I have that's public. All the other ones are all.
And I'll put the link to his video and channel on YouTube so you can check that out on YouTube. And yeah, should we close it out?
Yeah, I think we shared quite a bit. I think we got our point across. I think people were pretty entertained. So
Episode number 7 of Heart's Line Podcast. The site continues to improve, so please don't judge the progress, but it's in the works. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. See you next time.